But you brought these facts that are now public. You brought these items to the vice president, who was acting president in July.
Yeah.
Now these allegations were clearly viewed as legitimate enough to produce a panel to investigate. Now, do you think that whatever details were given to the erstwhile acting president are now being, do you think that there's some daylight between what he saw and what the current president is seeing for the actions to be different?
That's just like I said earlier. It speaks on the capacity of the vice president, the minister who set up that panel, the panel members, and also various other bodies, BPP. They also have their own issues with them. Officially, they have tendered resolutions, punitive resolutions against some acts during the Yusuf's period. But has it been implemented? The government has to implement those things. The rules have been subverted.
I want to ask you, Mr. Yusuf, when he came in on a rather controversial note. One of the things we heard about was the fact that, the insurance companies were not carrying out their responsibilities as they ought to. In fact, there was a big furore on national television, a situation where we even had to host Mr. Yusuf here on Sunrise Daily, and he talked about the work he was doing. And some people believe that this is corruption fighting back, that all of these allegations have come up only and simply because he's trying to do his job at the NHIS.
He said he has allegations. I believe at least one of them should be on the table of maybe the EFCC or ICPC. We should have details because he said it. We have tried to get that information. We couldn't, concerning most of those HMOs and other bodies. We wrote and we challenged him that we need, if he can't go against those people, he should give us those documents so that we will go ahead, because they are part of the system. The system is not working.
You agree that much? That
the system is not working, but his manner of coming in was just basically to put the agency into further.
So you're not seeing anything that he's doing to try and correct the ills that are currently in the system and ensure that people are able to get the healthcare service that they need?
No. For him particularly, no. The way he was handling, it was a business. The agency became a business venture.
How?
Contracts. He spent above his approval. It's documented. He spent above his approval limit. He was adamant. He was in charge of the agency. So, and from the way he handled the agency, as it was something personal, a private concern. Just like you said, there are contracts with his brother, something you will manipulate it through. Even in some instances, you will see that his relatives will be the ones handling the procurement processes for the contractor, which his brother is going to get.
Our understanding is that the public service rules stipulate that the executive secretary in his capacity as the ES cannot surpass 2.5 million naira in spending approvals, and that approximately 70 million was paid to a particular hospital for the treatment of 3 cancer patients, and that of the 3 cancer patients, only 1 was actually an enrollee of the NHIS. If these are facts, and the payment vouchers back these claims, what do you attribute the response of the presidency to? Because some people have said, look, that letter that reinstated the NHIS executive secretary came from the chief of staff to the president, so that maybe it's not the president that's responding. What are your thoughts about that?
It's the president. We have a president. So it's the president.
But then shouldn't you raise questions as to, what about the EFCC and the ICPC? What are they doing? If this factor that, if they're that blatant, if they're that evident, shouldn't they have swung into action by now?
That's why we're in court, to compel them. Already we're in court, as I told you earlier, because we foresaw this. The way they were dragging their feet. Some instances we encountered while it was going on, because they were not ready to really come out and walk. We had to push them. Even then, even the acting president then, Osibanjo, there was pressure on him before he did that. Before he took that.
Pressure on him from who? From where?
The system itself. The system was revolting against what Yusuf was doing. The system was revolting.
So all of these people, you say they were reluctant to move. I mean, you talk about this letter of reinstatement being from the president, even though it was signed by the chief of staff. And then you talked about how you're in court now to compel the ICPC and the EFCC. Why do you seem to sense a reluctance on the part of these agencies to prosecute such an obviously blatant case of subverting the rule of law?
Their body language has been bad. From the first instance, it has been bad. Because these are clear documentary cases. They are clear. They don't need to investigate. They need to just go and confirm. All what they have is to confirm that is this true, because it's there.
Why are they reluctant then?
It still boils down to the president.
So you're asserting that the president may be applying political pressure on these institutions to ensure that this executive secretary of the NHIS is not prosecuted for his crimes?
More than that, because he has been brought back to the same office.
Some people have looked at this and they've said they've drawn a nexus between this case and the case of Abdul Rashid Mena and the controversial reinstatement, despite the fact that he was facing corruption charges from some executive institutions. We saw in that case you had the head of service kind of angrily gesticulating with the chief of staff during a FEC meeting. In this case, it's the Minister of Health angrily gesticulating with the vice president over this case. Do you think that there is a larger trend in which certain decisions are being taken not on the basis of the rule of law or the basis of what is right and legal, but rather on the basis of political considerations?
It's corruption. It's corruption. That's just a simple word, corruption. The whole concept of corruption, not corruption of just stealing money, corruption of spoiling the system. You know what you're supposed to do, but you are subverting it or allowing it to be subverted for no just reason, but to hurt the system, because it will hurt the system. That system, NHIS is a big system. It's a health institution. It's supposed to provide for that worker who, that insurance of yes, I have something to support me in case of any emergency. But it's not working. What's the problem? And then we have a system, someone comes and spends the money on frivolity. The trainings were bogus. They were not what they were supposed to be. They were inflated. They were double payments. It's all there, contained. And you're still bringing the man back to the same system to do what? Don't we have, either then give someone else or let him wait. Let those facts be brought out. You can't preempt the system. Allow it to work. That's how we develop a system. But you subvert it in this manner. How will EFCC now, how will they handle the case? With the man there now. ICPC definitely, because already there are instances of trying to subvert it. So that's what pushed out to, we instituted the case since 2017. Because there were some instances that were being reluctant to really come out and take charge of it. The man has been suspended for how many months? For a long time. The case is supposed to maybe wrapped up, but the system tried to press it down, and that's what challenged us to push. Let them act on the case.
Well, we hope that the agencies involved are listening to you this morning, and will give us their own side of the story, because you've accused them of reluctance to prosecute this or to investigate this particular matter. Mr. Solomon Agbo is the coordinator, United Youths Alliance Against Corruption. He's been talking to us on the NHIS controversy.